Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's call the meeting to order. Dawn, you want to do the public comments announcement?
Sure. Should I start with the roll call?
Sure.
Okay. Jerry Abrahams,
Here.
Cindy Butts, Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranzo,
Here.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Here.
Claudio Gualtieri, Timothy Hodges, Catherine McKinnon,
Here.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Here.
Commissioner Perez,
Here.
Franklin Perry, Matt Puglisi, Chelsea Ross, Sarah Sanders,
Here.
Lisa Tupper Bates,
Here.
Greg Ugalde.
Present.
We do have a quorum for the meeting, and I just want to make sure that folks know that we are live streaming this meeting and recording the meeting, and both of those have just started.
Thank you. Okay, public comments.
Of course. This is the only opportunity on the agenda for the public to provide comments. If you would like to provide a comment, please unmute yourself and state your name. If you're in the room, please let us know. To ensure that everyone has the opportunity, comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Hearing no comments, the public comment period has now ended. Thank you.
Thank you. First up on our agenda is the CEO report by Nandini.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Madam Vice Chair and members of the board. It's a great, beautiful day out there. I hope you're gonna go out there and enjoy it. For those of you who are not in the room, we are we're surrounded here by almost everyone who does tax credit development in the state of Connecticut. But for those of us who know what's going to be presented today, it's that time of year when we present the results of our 9% low-income housing tax credit competitive round. I want to start out by just thanking the team, Pat, Deb, and everybody else, Jennifer Landau, and the entire team for what is usually a pretty busy time. It requires a fair amount of management, coordination. We're trying to be a little bit better every year with how we manage the process internally and externally, and keep things moving so we can be here today to present the results and make a recommendation to you all. I'm very proud of the way that we've conducted ourselves, but also with the result. I also want to give a shout out to Hazim and Allison and really the entire organization for yet another clean external audit and the federal and state single audit. We received compliments this morning at Finance Committee from Commissioner Perez and Sarah and others, just very pleased with that as well. Looking ahead, we are working on the qualified allocation plan, which is our primary policy document that enshrines our goals and objectives with respect to our low-income housing tax credit program. It goes through a biannual review, which is what it's been in the last few years. I want to thank you, a big thank you to the task force members for your time and expertise over the last few months. We've appreciated it. The 9% is a very competitive resource, as you all know, that is in very short supply. And we receive just over $10 million of it every year. It is also the primary engine for producing new, extremely low income and very low income units, which is 50% AMI and below. And we know that those are the most in demand because of the high housing cost burden of the households that occupy them. We know that there's need in many parts of the state, but given how few of these we receive annually, we're asking ourselves, how can we position this resource and this program produce the most number of units expeditiously? And that may mean making some tough decisions, streamlining perhaps the list of our requirements and policy goals that often go along with the housing and that generally add time and cost to an already drawn out process. We've had a lot of stakeholder input from, including from many in this room, about their concerns, their experiences, and what they would like to see going forward, including concerns about urban applications not being competitive with respect to suburban, as well as some other concerns about our priorities that add time and cost, as I mentioned earlier, which we're looking at, and we're hoping to address as many of them as we can in the draft of the QAP that's forthcoming. The Department of Housing and CHFA, including the Commissioner, we've been meeting with members of the legislature, the Housing Committee, the Senate Democrats, including the Eastern Connecticut delegation in particular. We're hopeful that we can work to address their concerns about Eastern Connecticut developments purportedly being disincentivized through our QAP. Interestingly enough, as you will see today, a very healthy number, around 33% of our recommended 9% awards this morning are located in towns in Eastern Connecticut. I know there's a lot of concern about the current environment we're in federally, and some board members have asked about our the impacts to CHFA, and they are ongoing. Our conversations internally, as well as with other stakeholders, including our trade organization, is continuing. A lot is still unclear. There is some clarity, that is, things never stay the same, and they're constantly changing, even hourly. We saw some dislocation recently in the bond market with some sell-off that was a result of the tariff news, but they've since somewhat recovered, although not completely. And we are going to continue to monitor that. We will work closely, as Hazim always does, with our financial consultant, quantitative consultant, to ensure that when we do go to market, that we are prepared to execute quickly and get out, and that we time into the best we can. In terms of what we're expecting, we do expect tax reform sometime this year, and the Affordable Housing Credit Improvement Act was reintroduced in this Congress with strong bipartisan support, which from what I'm hearing is probably one of the few areas of opportunity for us in terms of the potential for seeing some movement there. But again, a lot of it is unclear because of where the tax bill could be going and the methodology by which the administration will pay for extending the tax cuts. And so the impact of it on private activity bonds or tax credits will not be clear for a couple of months, but rest assured that a lot of advocacy is happening behind the scenes, and that we continue to keep our congressional delegation engaged. We are expecting a very challenging appropriations process this year with the FY26 budget. There is talk of significant gutting of the HUD budget. And as the Commissioner has said in a prior meeting, the state is, the Lamont administration is looking at how its resources can be more flexible and a gap filler in the event that federal resources are eliminated. GSE reform is also potentially on the table. but seems further out in the future, most likely in the second half of the second Trump term. We stand ready to the extent we can. I think that, I'd be happy to try to answer any questions today, but again, things keep changing and we will continue to monitor. I would be happy to bring Stockton Williams, the executive director of NCSHA, to a future board meeting to answer questions in more detail or to give you a state of play. At a meeting of your choosing. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandini. Any questions?
Just one
Yep.
thought, Heidi,
Okay.
thanks. This is Lisa.
Hi.
First off, Nandini, I want to thank you for the idea of bringing Stockton Williams to speak with us. I think that would be really helpful. But also just want to ask, and I don't know if we have any confirmation of this, but I understand that we're not singled out, but we are at fairly imminent risk of losing something on the order of about 500 HUD low-income housing vouchers. Is that about the scale of the near-term impact, or do you have any information on that?
I do not have specific information on that, Lisa. There is the potential for HUD vouchers to be scaled way back. But I don't think we will know that until the appropriations process is well underway, which is FY26. So closer to the summertime, when, if they get the budget done by the end of September, is when we will know the real impact.
Yeah, fair enough.
Lisa, this is Sayla. The vouchers that you mentioned probably are the temporary that we received through COVID, and those will be expired next year. So we are working towards making sure that we find resolutions with the families that we have with those vouchers.
Thank you, Commissioner. So that's just the first wave of impact.
Yes, that the impact on those durational vouchers.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Nandini. Next up on the agenda, and Dawn, if you could put the agenda up, but I have the Finance Committee action. Yes, Hazim to present the resolution for preparation for bond commencement for bond sale. Hazim?
Yes, good morning, Madam Vice Chair and members of the board. For your consideration is the resolution to authorize CHFA to issue up to 350 million of the Housing Mortgage Finance Program bonds in one or more issuances. The sale will allow CHFA to raise additional lending proceeds and fund about 1,262 first-time homebuyer loans. As of April 11, CHFA had an aggregate net pipeline of about 302 million. Based on the interest rate environment, CHFA would utilize a structure consisting of a fixed rate and a variable rate and expect to close the issuance in June of 2025. To leverage CHFA tax-exempt issuance capacity, CHFA intends to pair the tax-exempt issuance with taxable bonds. CHFA has informed Wells Fargo to lead the second single-family financing in calendar year 2025. The resolution was presented to Finance Committee, and Finance Committee did not raise any questions, and the resolution was approved unanimously by the committee. I'll be happy to answer any question posed by the board at this time.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion to approve?
Thanks, Greg. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments, concerns? If none, Dawn, can you call the roll, please?
Of course. Jerry Abrahams,
Hi, sorry about that. I was muted. Aye.
thank you. Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranco,
Yes.
Heidi DeWinger,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Aye.
Timothy Hodges, Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi,
Yes.
Chelsea Ross, Sarah Sanders,
Aye.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Yes.
Greg Ugalde.
Yes.
The vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next up on the agenda is the other reports. So the 2024 audit results to be presented by Tom Goldfuss from Whittlesey. Tom?
Yeah. Hi. Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Joining with me from Whittlesey is Katrina Olson, Senior Manager. We met previously with the Finance and Audit Committee early this morning and went over detailed audit results as well as some information regarding the areas tested. And we will provide a brief summary to everybody here today. Thank you. If you jump to the next page, we'll talk about the overview of the results. Sorry, one more page. Our team is on that prior page that everybody has access to if there's any questions. But so we've issued our independent audit reports for the year ended 12/31/24. All reports issued are clean and unmodified. That includes the audit report on the financial statements, as well as the audit reports on major state and federal programs, two separate reports there. Those reports discuss compliance findings and if there were any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal controls over your state or federal programs, issues would be reported on those reports. And happy to report that no findings or non-compliance noted with state or federal programs. We also issue a report in accordance with government auditing standards, which looks at not only compliance, but also internal controls over financial reporting. That report will also mention any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies identified during the course of our audit work, and that's also a clean report. Happy to be able to say here to everybody that the finance and accounting teams are very well run. Very easy to complete the audit despite the size of your organization. Very complex organization, but working with everybody is very easy to do. All information that we requested was received promptly. It was complete. It was accurate. There are really good controls in place, and no issues identified from us to report back. We use an IT specialist to help us conduct our audit. Internally, it's our employees that look at general IT-related controls, as well as the IT environment and IT-related controls over financial reporting to help us gain an understanding of the IT systems as well as the financial reporting system. And no issues are identified there either. Sometimes they come across concerns or matters to communicate, but nothing significant to report back to you. No separate report on that. That's just part of our the way we do our audits, as well as requirements that we understand the IT systems over financial reporting. Happy to also state no misstatements were identified during the audit in the accounting records, and there are no misstatements that remained misstated after the completion of the audit. So, as I kind of indicated, very good accounting records and staff are in place. The next slide covers our required communications at the end of our audit. We've previously communicated to the board and to management our responsibilities and their responsibilities in the engagement letter, and nothing's changed since then. There were no significant changes in accounting policies during the year. There was one update as a GASB update in the way that compensated absences get accrued in financial statements for government entities, but that was not significant, and it was implemented by management during the course of the year, but nothing. It was, again, not significant. As far as our audit work, one of the main areas we spend our time on and focus on are accounting estimates, and we gain an understanding of how estimates are used by management to ensure that they're reasonable in relationship to the financial statements. The significant estimates in the financial statements are the allowance for uncollectible receivables, the net pension liability, the net OPEB liability, and the fair value of the swaps. Nothing came to our attention that would lead to us to determine there was any bias in them, and we've agreed with the calculations or the judgments and assumptions used in determining those estimates. No fraud or illegal activities were noted during the audit, and again, no issues of non-compliance noted during the audit. As well, there were no material weaknesses identified in either the compliance, the internal controls over compliance, or the internal controls over the financial statements and the reporting process. No difficulties in completing the audit. We do use secure portals to conduct the audit, and we do a combination of on-site work as well as remote work. We send a good-sized team out to spend a few days out during field work, and then, of course, we complete the audits remotely when necessary. And we do meet over Teams or over the phone as necessary. Finally, we can confirm to you that we're required to remain independent during the course of the audit, and we've determined that we've maintained our independence with respect to CHFA under all professional and regulatory standards. The remaining information here, well, I'll mention in addition to the audit report, there are several other reports in the financial statements or schedules. The MD&A being the first one, schedules of expenditures of federal awards, schedules of state financial assistance, and supplementary information related to the pension liabilities and the OPEB liabilities. All this information is included in the financial statements. Separate audit reports are not issued on these, however, or on the MD&A. However, we do read the information. We do make sure it agrees to the financial records. We make sure it does not conflict anything in the financial records. So we have to have a basic understanding of how that works. But our audit report does not cover that. We do separate audit reports on the federal and state awards, again, unmodified reports. And we do limited audit work on the supplementary information related to the pensions and the OPEB liabilities. That information is reconciled to the underlying accounting records. And we make sure that it's complete and accurate for the presentation and the financial statements. The next 2 pages are some detailed information. As I said, we went over this with the audit committee, so I know we have limited time here to discuss our results. Happy to answer any additional questions anyone has for us, but the next 2 pages provide detailed information on some of the things that we do for significant areas, as well as a final slide about upcoming GASB standards. And as I communicated earlier, there's not really any significant standards that would require what we believe to be a significant amount of effort or really changes in the way the accounting is done by CHFA going forward. It's more just disclosure and perhaps additional footnotes that are required, but nothing that we deem to be significant.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Any questions about the audit? Great job by the team. Okay, do we have to approve the audit?
No.
No, okay. All right. Next up on our agenda is the resolution regarding the reservation for our 9% tax credits to be presented by Deborah.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Debbie Alter, Senior Program Officer for Program Administration in the multifamily area. I'm going to start with the background of the process and how we got to today. So the 9% tax credit round began in the fall of 2024. CHFA staff recorded and posted an informational video that reviewed the QAP, LAHTC procedures and guidelines, and underwriting and construction standards. This format received positive feedback from stakeholders who reported that they appreciated being able to access the video at their convenience. The video also included presentations from staff at DOH, the State Historic Preservation Office, the Department of Developmental Services, or DSS, and this year, the Department of Social Services participated as well. In accordance with the LAHTC guidelines, potential applicants were required to submit a preliminary application for review by CHFA and DOH. 18 pre-applications were received. Staff from CHFA and DOH participated in virtual pre-application conferences with each of the prospective applicants. We discussed the basic threshold requirements outlined in the QAP, as well as underwriting and design standards, and we were able to provide individualized guidance to each development team. Staff continued to answer questions up until the application deadline of January 15th, 2025. 15 applications were received by the deadline, requesting a total of approximately 22.8 million in annual 9% tax credits. 11 applications were received in the new construction classification and 4 were received in the preservation classification. One submission in the new construction classification was substantially incomplete at the time of the deadline and was immediately eliminated from consideration. CHFA staff performed a complete underwriting and design review of the 14 remaining applications, and team managers performed a second review of each one for quality control. Clarification of unclear information was sought from all applicants. Underwriting and scoring was finalized upon receipt of the clarification responses. Team managers again performed a second review of each application. Following the final review, 2 additional applications in the new construction classification were eliminated from the round due to the lack of a credible financing plan. I would like to take a moment to thank the staff of program administration and architectural and construction services for their hard work on the round. The round ran very smoothly this year, as Nandini mentioned, and it was a true team effort. So before you are 10 resolutions recommending awards of 9% credits. There are 8 in the new construction class and 2 in the preservation class. 7 of the 10 proposed awardees are in municipalities identified on the Affordable Housing Appeals List as having less than 10% CHFA financed or deed restricted affordable housing. 4 developments are in a very high opportunity area and 1 is in a high opportunity area as per the Connecticut Opportunity Map. So the following developments are recommended for an award in the new construction classification. 240 Deming in South Windsor is recommended for an award of 1,307,617 9% credits. Developed by the Metro Realty Group, this development will contain 55 new units on the former site of a church in a very high opportunity area. 44 units will be affordable and 13 units will serve clients of DSS. 55 Nye Road in Glastonbury is recommended for an award of 1,529,500 9% tax credits. Developed by the Housing Authority of the Town of Glastonbury, this development will construct 64 units in a very high opportunity area. 51 units will be affordable and 13 units will serve clients of DDS. The homes at Avon Park, 9% component in Avon, is recommended for an award of 2,100,840 9% credits. Developed by Beacon Communities, this development will contain a total of 100 units using a hybrid 9%, 4% financing structure. Located in a very high opportunity area, the 9% portion will include 73 units. 58 units will be affordable and 15 will serve clients of DDS. Why do I keep saying that? Horizon View in Montville is recommended for an award of 1,263,056 9% credits. Developed by, and I don't know how to say this, is it hexagonal or hexagonal? Either is fine. Development. The project will create 57 new units, of which 45 will be affordable and 14 units will serve clients of DDS. 66 Union in New London is recommended for an award of 1,080,000 9% credits. Developed by Eastern Connecticut Housing Opportunities, the development will construct 46 affordable units on the site of the First Congregational Church that collapsed in January of 2024. 10 units will serve clients of DDS. Oak Tree Village 2 in Griswold is recommended for an award of 1,440,000 9% credits. Developed by Connolly and Partners, this second and final phase will create 60 new units. 48 units will be affordable and there will be 12 supportive housing units, of which 11 units will receive Section 811 rental subsidies. Windsor Locks TOD Phase 1B 9% in Windsor Locks is recommended for an award of 1,460,215 9% credits. Developed by Trinity Financial, this development will be located adjacent to the new Windsor Locks train station. A total of 70 new units will be constructed using a hybrid 9%, 4% financing structure. The 9% phase will contain 35 units, of which 28 will be affordable. 7 units will receive Section 811 rental subsidies. And the last one in the new construction class is the Judd Homestead at Russo Estates in Fairfield. It's being recommended for an award of 1,200,000 9% credits. Developed by Fairfield Housing Corporation, this development will create 40 units in a very high opportunity area. 10 units will serve clients of DDS. And in the preservation classification, we are recommending 2. First is West Hartford Fellowship Housing Redevelopment Phase 3 in West Hartford, being recommended for an award of 2,170,000 9% credits. Developed by WHFH Development Corporation, this is the third of 4 phases to redevelop a total of 300 apartments for the elderly in a high opportunity area. 77 affordable units will be constructed in this phase. And last but certainly not least, Oak Park Phase 2 in Stamford is recommended for an award of 1,290,000 9% credits. Developed by Rippleworm Corporation, this is the second of 3 phases to redevelop Oak Park, which was built in the 1940s under the state moderate rental program. 43 affordable units will be reconstructed in this phase. These 10 recommendations request a total of 14,841,228 9% tax credits to fund 550 apartments. Your approval is requested to commit the remaining 10,375,853 9% credits from the 2025 pool and forward commit 4,465,375 9% credits from the 2026 pool. I am happy to answer questions at this time.
Thank you, Debbie. Any questions? Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the resolution.
Thanks, Sayla. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any other comments, questions, concerns? Okay, hearing none. Dawn, can you call the roll?
Of course. Jerry Abrahams,
Aye.
Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranco,
Yes.
Heidi DeWinker,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Aye.
Timothy Hodges, Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara-Burnham,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez. Franklin Perry,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi,
Yes.
Chelsea Ross, Sarah Sanders,
Aye.
Lisa Tupper Bates,
Yes?
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
The vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda, I believe, is the executive session. Is that correct, Dawn?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so we will adjourn and Dawn will help move everyone into the executive session, and then I will text Dawn when we're completed.
Heidi, can I just, I think we may need to take a roll call vote to move
To adjourn,
into
okay, to move
executive
into
session.
executive, okay.
Is
If
that,
we-
Rob, is that correct?
That's correct. We also want to know who we're inviting in.
Yes, please.
Okay, well, we're inviting in all board members, I believe.
Okay, and
So
are
Heidi,
there-
motion to go into executive
Thank you.
session.
Thank you, Lisa. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Matt.
I think we're inviting another party in as well.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. And who?
We also want to invite in Heidi, Ed Heath and Abby Warren of Robinson and Cole.
Okay. If we could add that to the list of people being invited in.
Absolutely. So
Okay.
first, we'll do the roll call on the motion to move to the executive session.
Thank you.
Jerry Abrahams,
Aye.
Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranco,
Aye.
Heidi DeWinger,
Yes.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Yes.
Timothy Hodges, Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara-Burnham,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez, Franklin Perry,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi,
Yes.
Chelsea Ross, Sarah Sanders,
Aye.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugaldi, excuse me.
Aye.
Okay, the vote passes unanimously. If you give me just a second, I will send the 14 folks. So I have 12 board members in the room, plus the two mentioned individuals, and I'll send you into a breakout room here in just about 10 seconds.
Okay, thank you.
Matt, Claudio, and Phil, you may have to say yes to be put into the room.
Okay. Okay, we're back in regular session. I think. Dawn,
Yes.
are we all, okay, great. So next up on our agenda is to approve the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Thanks, Cindy.
Second.
Okay, thanks, Greg. Can you call the roll, please, Dawn?
Yes. Jerry Abrahams,
Aye.
Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Wendy Clark, Phil DeFronto,
Yes.
Heidi DeWinger,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Aye.
Timothy Hodges, Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez, Franklin Perry,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi,
Yes.
Chelsea Ross, Sarah Sanders,
Aye.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Yes.
Greg Ugalde.
Yes.
The vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Unless there's any other comments or questions, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Thank you, Franklin.
Go
ahead.
I just had a comment or a question.
Yep, Bill.
I read recently that the governor's office has approved additional funding for renovation or rehabilitation projects. And I just didn't know if there is something that has been drafted up to work on that, or like where does that stand?
So Phil, I can answer that. There's 3 programs that we are working on with 2 CDFIs, C4C and Housing Development Fund. C4C apply, we had an RFP for the energy conservation loan, which are for homeowners that needs any energy conservation items that need to be replaced, from furnaces, windows, roof, very specific. That's a program that has been at the department for many years, but last year we had to do an RFP. We didn't have enough time, so this year we did the RFP. We have about I think it's about $8 million on that pool.
Okay.
We'll continue because we get money from the utilities company for that, and also we put some bond money. So C4C has been administrating that program and will continue to do that. And then in addition to that, we added some gap financing for small developers, the ones to build 2, 3, 4, up to 10 houses, and they can get up to $150,000 in subsidy to build more homeownership, including in Hartford. The mayor added another $2 million, and we set aside $2 million for housing in the neighborhoods that he's working with the land trust that he has. So C4C and Housing Development Fund will put out a marketing material. They should be running within the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
And we'll provide more information. If you want more information, we'll certainly send you the link.
Okay. And then I just had one, it's more of an observation more than anything, and more of a concern, which is just recently, we service a small book of CHFA business, and just recently, I'm just seeing a huge increase in homeowners insurance. And as somebody who has a property in Florida, I can tell you, like, I wonder if it's coming north, and I worry about, because like it's just, and I don't know if there's any discussion about that, or if we're seeing increase in delinquencies because of that. But you see a borrower who has a $1,000 monthly payment, and their insurance goes from $1,000 a year to $2,000 a year. I just wonder if that's an agenda item we can add to, and if there's any help that we can provide, or any you know, it's just, I've seen a lot of it recently, and it just scares me a little bit in the market and any potential increase in delinquencies and stuff like that. So just wanted to make that comment.
Yeah, we will bring, we can bring the, invite the insurance commissioner. The governor's office actually, put a group together with insurance and us, the Department of Housing and CHFA, I think it was, in Green Bank. Because that's a concern not only for single family, but also for multifamily.
Yeah.
So they are looking at a couple of programs that have been done in other parts of the states. And yes, we have been talking about it. And when
Okay.
we have a little more information, I can bring it to CHFA.
Okay.
CHFA board.
All right. I'm done now.
Thanks, Bill. Anybody else? Any other?
I just wanted to note, if people are interested, that yesterday the state of Connecticut had a very successful bond sale. It raised 800 million of new funding, including 123 million for the Build for CT program and 72 million for affordable housing, which I think is probably the time to own. So just, you know, we do our part as well for housing over here.
Thanks, Sarah. Good job.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? If not, I think we need a second to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Appreciate your
you.
time.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.
Thank you.